Hello, and welcome to the Transportation Information Mapping System, TIMS webinar. My name is Paula Hyman from the Ohio LTAP Center, and I'll be your technical support today. If you have questions throughout the presentation, please put those into the questions pod, and our presenter will address your questions. The webinar is being recorded, and a copy of the presentation and a YouTube link will be emailed to all participants and uploaded to our LTAP website. I want to thank you in advance for your participation. And with that, I will pass things off to Ms. Katie Robertson.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. It's a rainy, gray day, so I hope everyone's comfortable at home. Have your coffee, sit back, relax, and we're going to learn a little bit about ODOT's web mapping portal, TIMS, the Transportation Information Mapping System. You should be seeing the home screen now, and for today's webinar, we're going to just step through the functionality of the website, and hopefully that will help you to be familiar with the things that you can accomplish within TIMS and give you some confidence to explore the data on your own. We will do an overview of the structure of the site, starting here with the home page. And you can hover over any of the icons and you can see at the bottom of the screen, it will show you if it's a link. So this TIMS icon will always get you back here to this home page. Over on the other side of the title bar, we have a shortcut to search by PID or project ID, and we'll demonstrate that here shortly. The ODOT Zephyr will get you to ODOT's main homepage. And going down to the footer, some basic links, and mostly I just want you to remember two of them. The help, you can see if you're looking at the links that will pop up on the bottom left corner. The help button will open a PDF user guide. And you can download this, you can search this document. It will go through all the tools within the TIMS site. So if you see something that interests you during today's webinar and then you can't quite remember the details, you can go to the user guide and look that up. And then the contact link is where you will find this email address, which is the best way to contact us here on the TIMS support team. Any emails sent to this address will go to myself and several of my colleagues, and that way we can ensure that someone's able to get back to you right away. Usually you'll get a reply from me, Katie Robertson. If not me, one of my colleagues, or we can even help forward you to data experts for, say, the bridge engineering group or pavement engineering groups to help make sure that you get the answer to your question. Okay, and then sections of the website are organized into pages, and we'll step through the pages in order. There's the project search page where you can search for transportation project information, like the PID numbers, and that ties in with the search by PID shortcut. The Create a Map page is the main mapping page where we will list all the layers we have available that you can turn on and off, and tools for querying that data, exporting that data, and even showing some of your own data. The data download page is where you can select all of these layers that are available to view in the Create a Map page. We just have them pre-packaged for quick and easy download, and you can download those as a KML, a shapefile, a file geodatabase, or an Excel or a CSV. The standard PDF maps page has some PDF map templates that will have a pre-designed legend and pre-designed layers. You choose your area of geography that you want to view that information in, and it quickly generates that PDF map for you to download. Map viewers are some customized layers set in the exact same interface as our Create a Map, but we've got some customized symbols for offices around the ODOT agency or for specific workflows. And then the data glossary page is where you can see a list of all of the layers that we have available in the Create a Map page. And you can get a description of the data set, find out information about how often it's updated, and view a list of the attribute fields and descriptions of those attributes. The final link, the crash data search or the GCAP page, there are separate webinars and training resources for the GCAP tool. That's for searching crash data throughout Ohio. And if you're interested in learning about how to navigate that area of the site, you can visit the LTAP page and find a webinar just for that. We probably won't even open that today. So let's dive right in and start with the project search page. You'll notice throughout today's webinar, I'm going to do a lot of right-click, show a new tab, and that's just to help me try to stay organized throughout the webinar if I need to go back and look at the previous page without hitting the back button and losing my place. Most of the website's behavior will be if you click a link, it will open in that same tab. So just an option that I try to do to help me stay organized. It doesn't always work. So here's a look at the transportation project search page. All of our PIDs back to 2001, I believe, are represented here in the TIMS application site. And there are some limitations to what we show. I find the best way is just to read the description on the top of the page if you want to follow along. So find transportation projects from ODOT's project database or ELLIS database. This search includes projects with a funding category of ELLIS multi-lane, major rehab, STIP, major bridge, safety HSP, safety SRTS, local programs, and track. 2, the projects are completed, current, or future projects with committed funding, and that's a key component. The project must have at least 50% committed funding before our filters will bring it through to the TIMS database. And 3, they have to have a valid work location. And there's a few different ways to think about a valid work location. It could be entered into ELLIS and be given a district, county value, an area where the work is going to occur. And that might bring it through to this project search page and be listed here in this list. You can see at the bottom of over 80,000 project records. But then in order for us to be able to view the project location on a map, it needs to have recorded a route and log point, county township log point. That's what we use to generate the geometry to draw it on the map. So there may be some records here in this list of 80,000 projects that you'll see have no route or have no log points, and you can still get some information. You just won't be able to view that on the map. So when you first come to this page, you'll see that there are some filters at the top with drop-down lists to help you narrow down that list of 80,000 project rows. It will automatically populate all of the records in the table, in the results table below, and you have some control over how you're going to view those records. You can view by 100 and scroll. 5 fits nicely onto the screen. Of course, you can just scroll through. You can sort on any of these headers just by clicking the column header. And any project that you want to view the attributes of that project, you can click on the View Details button to the left. Again, I'll do that in a new tab, give you a quick view, and it's just going to have a tabular format to make it easy to navigate all of those attributes. It's got it grouped, the information grouped together. And there will always be links for the project proposal and the project plans. These links will always be on the project information page, even if the plans have not been loaded into the contracts website. You can see that link down at the bottom. I do have one noted that I'll circle back to in a minute. So to use the drop-down filters, you just pick a value. I'm going to limit by a fiscal year, just a certain project that I did have in mind. And 1, 4, 4, 5, 7. I'm not sure that's going to come up, and I could just pick any one. But again, you'll notice at the top of the in the title bar, I've got the search by PID number, and I can use that to pull up the PID that I know I wanted to look at. 114457. Again, I'll see. So it took me straight to that project information page. And now, just to give you a look at the Office of Contracts page and how it will look when you go to pull up project plans, you will, in case you didn't see that, I clicked that link to the side of the record, and then it will download the PDF. Sometimes it will open the project plans right directly in your screen. It just depends on how plans are loaded across the districts. So that's a really quick way to access that information. And some other things that I wanted to note about navigating this project search page. And this is why I try to stay organized so you guys don't have to watch this spin as all the projects load. But you can search. This search tool is, think of it as a generic text search. So you can limit by, say, the route number by knowing that our route number is always going to be 5 characters. So we'll pad it with leading zeros. So say all the projects on Interstate 70. And of course, there were 89. So that what we're seeing now is 89 projects logged for fiscal year 2021 on Interstate Route 70. And I could probably enter that PID, do the same type of search, just a different way. And there you go, you can see that. So yeah, let's go back to that project information page so I can make sure I point out the view in Ellis. Another quick way to link to another one of ODOT's information systems, the Ellis Proj interface. Give it a minute, it'll load. Is another way to get more information about the project. And I'm not an expert on working through the Ellis system, but if you do see any data discrepancies or any issues or any questions, you're still welcome to email that TIMS support email address. And if we're not able to answer the question, then we can bring in someone from the Ellis team who might be able to help. Okay, we also have the View in Map button. So you can access it here from the project information page. If you are accessing it from the search page, you'll want to select a record. You can select multiple if you have them in your results, and then choose the View and Map page. And before we navigate away, make sure that you see we do have the ability to export the records that or the project records that you've filtered to here in that same format. So all of our data export formats will be the same: Excel, KMZ, shapefile, and geodatabase. And the way that will work is you'll choose your format. It will work on the back end to create that file, and then this download button will activate. Unlike our data download page where all the files are pre-packaged and ready for a quick download, the interactive download tools can sometimes take a second because it's having to create that file on the fly. So I'm actually not going to click the download. It would pop up depending on which browser that you use and your download settings. So you'd be able to access that. All right, so let's send this over to our map. And clicking that button has opened the Create a Map page. It's taken that result layer and created this results layer over on the map page. All of those attributes that we saw on the project information page are here now in this table format. So if you want to blink, I'll scroll quickly and you'll see you still have those links to the plans and proposal information. And there's yet another way to access this attribute information, and that is by activating this identify tool. It's an eye in a circle. So that's pretty intuitive. And you activate that tool, you'll know it's activated because you'll have the crosshair icon when you're over the map. And then you just click on your record and you'll see it will populate all those attributes in this pane on the left side. You can control kind of the layout of the screen. You can resize panes. You can hide this results table if you know you're not going to be using that. The same with the pane on the left side. And now let's step through the functionality here in this page. We're going to go across the toolbar, starting with the set visible layers, which is what we saw when we first opened the Create a Map page. And it's probably worthwhile. We have so many layers available, so I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll give a quick overview and hopefully help you know where to get started if you're looking for something. So under our assets grouping, we're going to have a lot of the transportation assets that are associated with the roadway. So you'll have noise wall inventory, highway lighting, under drain outlets, the signs, ITS assets, as well as the bridges, and some reference layers like ODOT facilities. And that's a pretty quick one just to give you a view. So as you turn any layers on, I'll zoom out so we can see. Of course, it will draw on the map, and then you can switch over to the Legend tab and see what the symbols represent. So we are seeing 2 full-service garages in this area of the map. If I turn that layer off, you'll see that it is removed from the legend. We just only have our result layer. So it's interactive in that way. If you want to know what symbols represent, turn them on, and then you can switch to the legend. Under our environmental grouping, you'll have environmental reference layers, muscle streams, maintenance restrictions. There might be some overlap across the groupings like noise wall inventory. Under projects, we have the exact same information that you're navigating on the project search page. And just the nature of our mapping system, it can draw a location as a point, as one spot on the map, or as a line. And so we have to divide those into 2 separate layers. And that's why you see these 2 layers here. And then we have some pre-configured filters. If you want to view all the projects just for the next 4 fiscal years, or the previous 4, district work plan, I think that's more like 6 years. Current projects is looking at the construction dates that are recorded in the Ellis project system. So if today's date falls within the construction end or construction begin and construction end dates, then those projects will come through this filter. And our project history database, all project information prior to 2001 that's not being managed in our current Ellis system is archived to project history. So if you need to dig in the way back, then under our roadway information grouping, you'll have a lot of different ways of filtering down our roadway information, just like we had the full project database and then we had a few pre-configured filters. We have the full road inventory that will contain all of the attributes for if that segment is part of or what its functional class is, if it's part of the NHS, scenic byways. So you can turn on those layers individually or view the full. The backbone of all of our assets tied to the roadway, if you're familiar with our NLFID and log points, that includes the route number and the county, and then the log points as you travel along the route. If you work with GIS and you want to have that base file, that is this LRS layer. So it will just look like a line, but it contains those geometry values for the log points. And we have our state and US bike route system, which can sometimes go off of our road system. I think there are plans to incorporate all of it into our main LRS and road inventory, but that might be a few years off before it's fully integrated, so we still maintain the separate layer. Another good resource is the straight line diagrams. You can turn on this layer, use your Identify Features tool, and get a link directly to the straight line diagrams for that section of roadway. Okay. Our safety grouping, this is a small subset of the crash data that you can search through the GCAT tool. And we only view 3 years worth of data and just a handful of the attributes. I'm drawing. So a lot of the data sets, if they're very large, they're going to have a draw restriction. The system won't try to draw it until you're zoomed in further. So if you ever turn a layer on and you're not seeing anything in the map, you can try zooming in. Give you a view of the information you can see, just some very basic information about the crash. And then the final grouping, boundaries. This will have reference, political and geography boundaries like townships, our ODOT districts, cities and villages, and the political districts. The political districts were updated after the last elections, but we just had someone report to our TIMS support that actually right here in this area, the boundaries of this U.S. House district might not be correct. So whenever you see something like that, please shoot us an email and let us know. So after today's webinar, I'll be working on getting that corrected. Okay. So I feel like it might be worthwhile before we go into the tools on how you can work with all this data to skip over to our data glossary page. There are a lot of layers that we've just did a quick overview, so it's good to know how you can get more information about those layers, and that is at our data glossary page. And just a quick overview to see the full list of layers. It's in this drop-down list, and you can search to filter. So let's see, projects, you'll see LS project points and lines. If we did maintenance restrictions, bridges, and then when you choose a data set, the search results at the bottom will refresh to show all of the attribute fields that we have available for that data set. Again, you can kind of control the number of records you're viewing on one page and get a brief description. It is limited to a certain number of characters. So if you get to this page, you find the field that you're looking for, but the values have been cut off. The quickest way to get that full description is just to shoot us an email, and I can send you the source file as a spreadsheet. You'll see there are some links over on the side, so you can hover over that first question mark link. It will give you a brief description of the data set overall and when it was last refreshed. So you can see this is one of our data sets that we refresh nightly. And then the second link will be a link to one of the ODOT, to an internal ODOT webpage about the office that owns and maintains that data. So for bridges, it will take you to the structural engineering page. Again, we have the generic search tool that you can enter in any term and it will filter that list. So if I'm looking for anything involving maintenance, helps if you spell, there you go. Okay. We'll go back to our mapping page now. And I want to give a quick comment about generating these results layers. If I came to the Create a Map page and I hadn't started from the project search page, I hadn't performed any queries and created any results tables, you wouldn't see that. So as you're interacting with the tools and anything that will filter down the data or populate the results table is going to create a layer under that new results grouping. So just to make you aware of that behavior as we start stepping through, first we'll go through our find location tools, and I like to call these the zoom tools. So you're just finding an area to zoom the map to. And we'll take a quick look. So you can do an address or intersection. Just as an example, it'll pre-populate ODOT's headquarters building here in Columbus, Ohio. If someone's given you a latitude and longitude, you can paste those here. And I believe this is just right downtown Columbus. You can also use this tool to report coordinates. So you activate it by clicking the button, and then you click on the map, and it will give you those values. You can also change the format of the coordinates. We're viewing it in decimal degree right now. You can switch to degree, minute, second. Find log point. This is going to be using the LRS and the NLFID and log points along our roadways. So I can navigate to, we'll pick a county. We will pick a route. Let's do 70. It's going to tell you within that county the valid log points. So we'll start as we enter Franklin County on the west and south side. And then as we travel north and east, those log points will increase. Okay, so it will navigate you, place a flag, and report the NLFID and log point, as well as the latitude and longitude. Just like the coordinates tool, you can also use this tool to report out log points. So you activate it by clicking the button. And now, even though I'm just viewing the web map, I haven't turned any layers on. It is there in the background. So if you click over a roadway, it can pull up that value for you. If you click off of a roadway, it will say no log point found. So if you're zoomed out quite far, it's good to know. If you see that, just zoom in further, click on the roadway again. That's a really good reporting tool since a lot of our projects and assets are tied to that NLFID and log point. Here's a quick way to reference that value. And then our find area, this is just to zoom to some of those boundary polygons. Say, where is Warren County? I forget these things sometimes. So it's a really quick way to just get your bearings. Okay. Of course, we've already seen the identify features tool. Another way you can say, where's or what county am I in when I'm zoomed in onto a map, just as another reference. You can turn that layer on, use your identify features tool, click anywhere in the map, and if I had multiple layers turned on, I'd be able to switch back and forth. So let's show you that. Say if I had projects and my counties, now I'll be able to see all of the project records that intersected with my selection box where I clicked, and I can navigate through those, or I can switch back to my other layer and see those attributes. So hopefully that's pretty straightforward. Our next tool grouping, just tools, we have our little gear icon, and it has some basic tools for working around in the map, and then connecting to some other resources outside of TIMS. So your basic measure tool, you can do an area, you can get state plane coordinates if that's something that's required for your workflow. If you need to draw a quick graphic, say you're talking over a project while you guys are referencing the map, you can use this graphic tool to add a quick note or draw a line over something. Any graphics that you draw will only remain in your browser session. So once you close down the site and come back, those will be cleared out. You can create a bookmark. So if you bookmark the TIMS site for your browser, say you did this link right here for create a map page, it would open the page brand new, zoomed out, no layers turned on. If you have a location that you go to often, then you can create a bookmark here. And the bookmarks that you create will show it's saved to your browser, so you'll view it here until you cleared your cookies and browser data. Our ODOT PathWeb tool is a really good reference where our ODOT van drives along the roadways and collects images and also scans the pavement. So you'll want to click over a roadway again, and it will open our PathWeb tool. This is publicly available. You can come straight to the site. If you access it from TIMS, from clicking on the map, it will have you already zoomed into your area of interest. And then the final tool, Map Channel, it's just a custom view of Google Maps data. So for this one, you don't need to click on a roadway. You can click anywhere. And the site itself has changed. I'm not sure why now we have to have this like home page, but just click the View Map button. And you can see that it combines all of the different views So you have your aerial imagery. Your street view is what should be here. It's not loading. All right, because I'm not on a street. So if I was, you can see that all of the views would navigate together. So that's a really good reference tool. Okay, now we're getting into some more advanced tools. Our filter data tools will allow you to create a query to get a subset of any of the layers that you have turned on. So I'm going to start with the bottom option, filter by graphic, and work our way back up. Filter by graphic, just like you could draw a generic graphic on the screen, we can draw a graphic and then use that to select individual records that we have drawn on the map. So you can draw a point, a line, or a polygon. If you do a point or a line, you'll probably want to use this buffer distance tool, and I'll show you that. So I've picked the type of graphic. I'm going to click the draw tool to activate it. I'm going to click, let's make sure that we get a couple anywhere on the map, and then I want to expand that circle so I get these projects here as well. So I can create a buffer. I can modify that buffer. And then once I click the search tool, it's going to generate that result feature. Show me I have 4 project records that will be in the results table at the bottom. And we can make that bigger to view those. So I believe I still have county turned on. So if I wanted to search county, will that work if I'm just within? I can try it with my existing selection graphic. Yep, so it'll get the graphic, the county that that graphic is within, just to give you an overview of how that tool is going to work. Okay, clear, try to keep my results layers under control. Filter by geography is going to use that same subset of reference polygons that we've seen in other tools. So just to mix it up, I'll do urban areas. I'm going to find next the projects for the next 4 fiscal years. Oh, and I'll have to look into that because it should be populating a drop-down list there. So I do apologize about that. I won't be able to demonstrate that right now, but I will get that resolved this afternoon. Let's move on to the filter by attributes. So I'll pick my layer. Now I'm going to start building a filter. If you're familiar with building a SQL filter or just any filter tools in general, it should be pretty straightforward. So let's see, I want to do, so I can search to find the field that I'm looking for, and then I have a few operators I can choose from, and then it will populate the unique values. So I just want to say one of the fiscal years. And that's quite a big search. So it might take a minute for this to populate. Yeah, because it was for the whole state. Now I do have my pre-existing results layers, and even though I don't have a lot of control on how those are named, if I know what I'm representing, I can also search further. So I've done, so this is the one that we just created. If I wanted to narrow that down even more, I can search against one of those filtered layers. It should be populating that drop-down list, but let's see. It may just want the, it's just having a lag. Hopefully you guys are seeing what I'm trying to. There we go. Huh. So maybe it's not liking that I'm picking that filter by results because I clicked the clear button. I have made that clear as mud, and you are welcome. But are kind of some of the more advanced tools. So let's clear out. There's one more thing I want to highlight that you can do with the filter by attributes, and that is building multiple statements here in this one view. So that's probably a good alternative to doing one filter layer and then querying it. So if my do the projects, and if I'm doing, see if this will populate, there we go. And then I want to add another filter, and now I can do also the fiscal year. There we go. So it's a quick way to pull out the subset of data that you're really interested in. And now I have that data down in my results table. I can zoom to individual records. I can use that search. I can even change the columns that I'm viewing. Say I want to do an export, but I really only want 4 of these columns. So I can toggle them all off and then select the ones that I want, just for a brief example. And then I can export out to a CSV, and I'll have everything narrowed down to just the information I'm interested in. Okay. Our final option on the toolbar is to add our own data to the map. So let's clear out some of this work that we've done so far. I'm just going to refresh the screen by clicking Create a Map. And here's a list of data formats that you can load into the map. So this is, you're going to have your own external data, and then it's going to have the limitations of your browser as well. So once you navigate away from that session, these layers won't remain. But if you need to view some TIMS layers alongside your own data, this is a really great way. So you can load your own shapefile. If you use GIS, then you'll be familiar with that format. If you have a KMZ file like Google Earth, but I want to spend most of my time showing kind of the smarter tools you can, if you have a, say, a spreadsheet of NLF ID and log points, you can load those in and create that geometry. And should have some samples ready to go. So I've pointed to the file, and now you need to tell it to upload. So you click the button. It's going to try its best to fill in these fields. If they're not named exactly, then you'll need to pick them. So NLF ID and then my log point CTL. If you know that you're creating a point event, you'll just need that beginning log point. If you have a line event, you'll have 2 log point values and you'll switch over. I know mine's just a point. Now I'm going to click Add. Now I've created a GIS file with all these features located, and I can, from this results table now, export that out as a KMZ or shapefile. So for small batches of data, it's a pretty useful conversion tool. I can do the same thing if I have a spreadsheet of coordinates or a spreadsheet of addresses, and this can really come in handy. So I'll show an example of that. Again, I chose my file and now I have to upload it. It will try to populate these fields. So it found address for city. It's going to be called city name and zip code. Click the geocode button and you'll see those locations drawn on my map and populated in the results table below. So I didn't show you the input spreadsheet, but it would have just had these attributes shown here. And I think, yes, it will locate those addresses, but then also give you the latitude and longitude. So that's really helpful information. Okay. I think I looked over or I skipped over a few basic navigation features of the site. So we have our zoom in, zoom out if you don't want to use your scroll button on your mouse or your touch screen if you're using a tablet. The home button will take you back to this full extent. Um, on the top right corner, we have a few options. You can change your base map. So it's going to default to the ODOT base map, I think. Yeah, or it was defaulted to our streets base map. There are a few other built-in options if you prefer those. And then we have our OSIP imagery, Ohio Statewide Imagery Program. If I'm zoomed all the way out and I try to draw these really high quality photographs, depending on your network speed, you might just get a white screen. So they're really best viewed zoomed into a small location so you can see that detail. Yep. And we have OSIP publishes a few years worth of data. OSIP 3 will be the newest data. If you're in an area where that imagery is not available, you can check the previous two versions to see if they flew over and were able to process the images for that area. Okay, our Create a Map page has a basic print map function. You can choose your size and it will show whatever is drawn on the map. So if you have layers turned on and if they have labels, that will print. But there won't be a legend, just some basic information like that. And then if you have certain layers turned on, I believe I had them all turned off, except for the results layers, those will not carry through with this share map with your friends tool. But say I was zoomed into this area and I had my conduits turned on, I could use this tool to generate a quick link. I can copy this link, paste it into an email, and then my colleague can open that link and we'd be looking at the exact same area with the exact same layers turned on. Okay, so let's see, we've got just over about 10 minutes left in our hour. I hope I haven't put any of you to sleep. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat pod, which is totally fine, but just to remind you that that's there if you do have any questions. And we're going to just do a quick view of the remaining pages and then hopefully get us all out of here a few minutes early. So let's take a look at the data download page. The layers are grouped in the same way they are in the Create a Map page. So that should help you navigate. But we don't really have control over the order that they list here. So if you are looking for something and you can't find it, you can use your browser's find tool just to search that page for that text. It can kind of help you navigate. So whichever, you can choose as many layers as you want. And then you can choose a single file format and it will package all that up into a zipped folder and you can download that as one zipped folder. So for our layers that are updated nightly, like bridges, you can download the most up-to-date data set, but just know now that you have that offline, if you come back to TIMS the next day, the data will have been updated and might not sync with your downloaded copy. Our standard PDF maps page. So we have a lot of requests for more customized map views for specific workflows. And we've created some map templates that will include the legend and information about the data that you're viewing. So you can pick your theme, your area of interest again, and you have a few options. You can pick your base map and a few options for your size. Try to make it quick, so I'll choose the smallest size. And similar behavior as everywhere else throughout the site. You define your settings, and then you'll have to click a button for something to be generated or uploaded or um, whatever the action is. And then when that's ready, you'll get the download button activated. Don't want to spend too much time waiting on it, but hopefully it will pop up quickly. And once we get a look at this one sample map, I just want to do a quick view of our map viewers page. So there you go. So it zoomed into the county that I chose. It includes a legend and some information about that data, as well as the date that the map was generated. Okay, so you're welcome to play around with all those options on this page. And our final look at the map viewers page. So each of these buttons is a custom version of the create a map page. So if we looked at our, let's look at the active transportation. So our active transportation office, I'm going to switch that base map back. They want to see the same boundary options, but then they have some layers that maybe are a little too niche for us to have available on the Create a Map page. It can, we already have so much, it's hard to navigate. So we'll make them available here. They had some analysis for which areas are in need or have high demand for active transportation. And maybe zoomed out for that large data set to draw. They want to have that subset of crash data already filtered down to those involving pedestrians or bicycles. I don't know how long I want to wait for it to draw, but again, if you haven't visited these sites before, your browser won't have like a cache built up on the back end. Some custom queries for projects specific to this office, and then for reference, the ADA assets, and then the bike route system. So all of the options for the custom map viewers are different, and they're all available for everyone to navigate if you wanted to just look around and get an idea of some different ways to view data. For county managers, they had an initiative to inspect all of the conduits, so we were able to symbolize that data differently, give them a visual cue of the general appraisal, right with the main map symbol. And then sometimes in the map viewers, we're able to pull in another layer that's not managed by ODOT. So it's been published like parcels. It's a statewide, I believe it's managed by OGRIP. So we just consume that. But it's good to know that it's there. We're hoping in the future to have all of these referenced and searchable on our data glossary page, so it'll be easier to find out where some of these layers are available. And we hope in the future to also be able to choose to turn these on in the main Create a Map window. We're not quite there yet, but so even though it's not our layer, we're just consuming it here. You can still interact with it with all the same tools. And let's see. I think I'll just invite you guys to play around if you see any of these topics that might apply to your daily job. Experiment and see if there's something that is useful to you. If there's some information that we didn't cover today and you're really hoping to find this data or a certain type of tool in TIMS, and you don't want to, pop a message in the chat window, guess what? You are always invited to contact us via this email address, and we'll do our best to meet all your data needs. So with that, I'm going to invite our moderator to come let us know if there's any last minute housekeeping, and we can get you guys on your way.
Nothing in the questions pod, just a thank you for your presentation. So I have nothing else. I'm going to send out an email with a copy of the recording and a copy of the presentation to everybody.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.